How is this show 10 years old?
10 years old.
If you polled the Gravity Falls fan base, most of us would agree that the quote-unquote worst episode of the series is Roadside Attraction, which isn't a huge condemnation because Gravity Falls doesn't exactly have a bad episode within its catalog. The plot is lackluster, the tone is a little off, and its few endearing aspects can't save it from the fact that it's uncomfortably sandwiched between The Last Mabelcorn and Dipper and Mabel vs. the Future, which is a criticism that series creator Alex Hirsch agrees with.
My only issue with this episode is, I do wish, we could have had it be a little earlier in the season, because it arrives at a moment where everybody's hyped for continuity, and so people are like, what? Just a cute little one-off. I wanted the world to blow up. It's like, wait, next week the world blows up. Trust us.
However, if you've listened to all 40 commentary tracks included in the DVD box set, which I have, you'll know that Alex Hirsch's most hated episode wasn't Roadside Attraction. It was Dipper vs. Manliness.
I remember so far as going to the executives and being like, can we just not air an episode? Can we just not play it?
It got to that point.
In my heart at the time,
yeah,
I had a different idea of what I dreamed Gravity Falls would be, and I was like, this isn't it. This isn't it.
Dipper vs. Manliness is the 6th episode of Season 1. Its title is fairly self-explanatory. Dipper learns that being a man means more than just flaunting your testosterone around. Our monster of the week are the Manitars. Minotaurs who embody all the traits of masculinity that society celebrates. Since Dipper is a prepubescent boy, he naturally wants to fit in with them, but adulthood is about individuation, and you can't be an individual if you're constantly succumbing to the pressures and expectations of your peers.
You did what was right even though no one agreed with you. Sounds pretty manly to me, but what do I know?
It's a solid episode, so to learn that the show's creator passionately disliked it was both fascinating and reassuring. This was one of the first episodes ever written, so Alex's main issue with it is that it didn't fit the image of Gravity Falls that existed within his own head.
I think that the tone of this is not the tone of Gravity Falls. This is a show about urban legends, not a show about just pro wrestler cow monsters walking around and calling each other bro.
Alex's frustrations with Dipper vs. Manliness are worth highlighting because anyone who has ever created anything has struggled with the dissonance between what we want to make versus what we wind up actually making. Alex spent a ton of time working on this episode trying to fix it, which is something I find deeply relatable because when our creations don't measure up to our personal definitions of quality, we second-guess ourselves as creators.
I had a little freak out, oh no, I screwed it up. This isn't the show I wanted to make. Burn it down.
Doubt is a shadow that looms over every artist. Thus, the triumph of art is the creator's perseverance. In many ways, doubt is just a defense mechanism, one that stems from a universal fear of rejection. By admitting that we're passionate about something, we're potentially opening ourselves up to a world of undue criticism.
Everything signifies some big cultural or tribal identity.
And so liking anything is dangerous.
You won't master the craft of writing on the first try. Getting better requires practice, and doubt will likely be your constant companion throughout this process. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, though. One of the best aspects of Dipper vs. Manliness came from one of Alex's desperate rewrites.
And I changed, right before I pitched it to everyone, I added all that stuff with Baba and Dipper's obsession with pop music, because that used to not be in the episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Disco Girl is iconic, and it's endearing to see Dipper and the Multi-Bear bond over it.
Disco girl coming through. That girl is you. Ooh, 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 ooh.
This plot thread also leads to a great line.
'Cause dang it, top 40 hits are in the top 40 for a reason. They're catchy.
As for the B-plot, I will concede that there are better episodes where Mabel tries to help Stan with a personal problem. Fight Fighters comes to mind.
Studies show that keeping a ladder inside the house is more dangerous than a loaded gun. That's why I own 10 guns, in case some maniac tries to sneak in a ladder.
Dipper vs. Manliness is by no means a perfect episode, but it's a fun episode, and Alex eventually came around to appreciate its merits.
Going back on it, I'm chill about it, and this was one of these things where you don't know what you're making until you've made it.
Listen to what your inner critic has to say, but be confident in your abilities. Your willingness to accept minor flaws in your creative projects will help you finish them. That's the whole reason I started this channel. Everything is a learning opportunity, and if you create enough stuff, your masterpiece will come to you.